my dear friends, students. My name is Ashok Sen Gupta from School of Management Sciences, Lucknow. Today's topic of discussion is leverage analysis. Leverage analysis is an important part of capital structure theory, and we must understand about how we can use the leverage. What is leverage? So, in this video, we will be able to understand about the concept of leverage, and we can analyze some types of leverage. So, first is about leverage, introduction of leverage. Leverage is used for describing a firm's ability to use the fixed cost assets or securities to increase or magnify the return of its owner. As per the James Van Holmes has defined as a leverage the employment of asset or fund for which the firm pay a fixed cost or fixed return. In other words, leverage is the employment of fixed asset or fund for which a firm has a meet fixed cost and rate of interest. Obligation respect of the level of activities or the level of operating profit. So, leverage is a kind of instrument, leverage is a process, leverage is a tool, leverage is a tool. The word leverage comes from the physics word which means to lift the heavy things with the help of any other instruments. Let us take an example, if it is a big stone and we want to lift it, so mostly we use a rod, iron rod. So, nobody use by no one can use by its hand to lift it because it is too heavy. To lift it we use the iron rod and it is move or move upward. Similarly in finance, leverage word is used, and this used by using the fixed cost or debts to increase the value of the equity shareholders, to increase the profit. So, leverage is a in concept, leverage means to use the fixed assets, cost asset or funds to magnify the return of its owners. By using debt instruments, by using fixed cost, we can increase the profit or value of the shares, earning of the shareholders. I am talking about equity shareholders. So, in fact, leverage is a very important tool. Therefore, companies use debentures in their capital structure. So, this is about the concept of the leverage. When a firm use fixed asset, its result is fixed operating cost. Similarly, when a firm use those sources of finance in its capital structure on which it is required to pay fixed cost or fixed rate of interest, it result fixed financial cost. You are paying a EMI or interest on loan. In this case, you need to pay a higher fixed interest or rent of, for example, rent of go down, it is a fixed cost. Higher the degree of leverage, higher the risk and higher the expected return of the or vice versa. So, the degree leverage degree is higher, the higher the risk and the higher is the expected return of the shareholder and vice versa. Leverage can be favorable and unfavorable as the cost of as the fixed cost or return has to paid in respective of the sales value. The amount of such cost or return has a significant effect on the profit available for equity shareholders. Therefore, leverage can be favorable and unfavorable. It can affect on the profit of the shareholders. It can affect the profit of the company. Therefore, it is very important the amount of fixed cost using for the leverage, amount of fixed cost using for the leverage. As we increase the amount of fixed cost, it is not sustainable. Use maximum amount of fixed cost. We have to use the optimum amount of fixed cost to increase the leverage of the company or give the leverage to the equity shareholders value. In last videos, I also tell you about the optimum capital structure. So, when we use debt in our capital structure and to give the leverage to the EPS, it does not mean that you are increasing the debt too much. Sometime if you having low profit, then maximum amount of profit you have to pay to the debenture holder or for the long term borrowings, and there will be no profit remains for the equity shareholders. There are no profit remain for the equity shareholders. Therefore, the earning EPS will be 0, and when EPS will 0, it will degrade the value of the company. It will degrade the value of the company. The term leverage generally refers to a relationship between interrelated variables. In financial analysis, it represents the influence of one variable over some other financial variable. These financial variables may be cost, output, sales revenue, earning before interest and tax, earning before tax, or earning per shares. So, these are all variables, and these variables are interrelated and they are influence each other. They are influence each other. So, there are basically 3 types of leverage: financial leverage, operating leverage, and combined leverage. In some books there is a composite leverage also. The combined and composite are same thing, just difference in terminology. So, combined leverage, composite leverage are same. Here I just first leverage we are going to discuss is financial leverage. So, financial leverage is defined as the ability of a firm to use fixed financial changes to magnify the effect of change in operating profit of the firm or the firm's earning per share. In the other word, financial leverage is this tendency of residual net income to vary disproportionately with operating profit. It indicates the change that take place in the taxable income as a result of operating income. So, financial leverage here, it simply means use of debt, use of debenture in our capital, debenture or fixed financial source, or can say fixed long term borrowings in our capital structure, and by using them we can increase the value of the earning per share. You can increase the value of the earning per share. So, this is the financial leverage. Generally, change in taxable income and change in EBIT or EBT, it is EBT, not EBIT, it is EBT, earning before tax. So, for financial leverage is this is the formula. We can easily understand the concept of financial leverage with this question. Question is, a firm is considered to plan financial plan with a view to examine their impact on earning per share. The total fund required for investment in assets are 5 lakhs. So, firm needs 5 lakh rupees. Firm have 2 plans, going to decide and which plan is best. So, firm has 2 plans. In first plan, firm going to take debt of rupees 4 lakhs and equity share of rupees 1 lakh. Debt of rupees 4 lakh and equity share of rupees 1 lakh. In second plan, it is just opposite, debt of rupees 1 lakh and equity share of rupees 4 lakhs. So, in this case, number of equity share is 10,000 as rupees 10 per share, and in this case rupees 40,000 number of equity share, because each share is rupees 10. EBIT, earning before interest and tax, is already assumed that there is assumption that earning before interest and tax in 3 cases 50,000, 75,000 and here 1,25,000. There are 3 cases and tax 50%, tax 50%. Now, we have 3 cases and 2 plans. With the help of 2 plans and 3 cases, we are going to find out which plan is best to choose by the company. So, when earning before interest and tax, is rupees 50,000, when operating profit is 50,000. In this case, plan 1 having 50,000, plan 2 having 15,000. This is simple because EBIT is same for both plans. Now, interest, less interest on debt. So, in first plan, debenture is 4 lakhs. In first plan, debenture is 4 lakhs. So, 40,000 equals to 4 lakhs into 10%, 4 lakhs into 10%. In second plan, debenture is 1 lakh and interest rate is same, therefore, 1 lakh into 10%, 1 lakh into 10%. So, both we get the interest. Now, earning after interest, EBT, (50 minus 40, 10,000), 50 minus 10, 40,000. Now, less tax, because we have given in the question, we assume tax of 50,000, 50%. So, tax rate is 50% and we less the deduct the tax value. So, 5,000 tax, so this is 5,000 tax, 20,000. 50% of 10,000, 5,000, 50% of 40,000 is 20,000, and these are the residual value remain for the equity shareholders. This is the residual value remain for the equity shareholders. Now, equity shares, total number of equity shares 10,000 here, 40,000 in second plan. EPS, number of EPS means this divided by this. So, 50,000 divided by 5,000 divided by 10,000, 5,000 divided by 10,000 0.5, 20,000 divided by 40,000 0.5. So, in this case if we have EPS of 50,000, there is no change in earning per share, either we use plan 1 or we plan 2. Now, second assumption is, if earning before interest and tax is 75,000, in this case EBIT is 75,000, EBIT is 75,000 and interest on debenture 40,000 as discussed, फोर लाख का 10% और यहाँ पर वन लाख का 10%, 40,000 and 10,000. So, 75 minus 40, 75 minus 40 we receive this one, 75 minus 10, 65,000 we receive this one, less 50% tax. So, less 50% of 35,000 this one and 65,000 32,500. Balance is balance is 17,500 and 32,500. These are the balance. Now, on EPS. So, EPS is this divided by this. So, 17,500 divided by 10,000, 1.75. 32,500 divided by 40,000, 0.8. 0.8. So, earning per share in this case, earning per share of plan 1 is greater than earning per share of plan 2. Hence, by using, if we having the expected EBIT 75,000, the firm must choose the plan 1. Company must choose the plan 1 because earning per share of plan 1 is higher than earning per share of plan 2. In plan 1, as we discussed in plan 1, see in plan 1 debenture company going to purchase equity share of 1 lakh and debt of 4 lakhs. So, there is a ratio of 4:1, there is a ratio of 4:1. So, by implementing this strategy, company can get the maximum earning per share, and if the company going to maximize earning per share, then he need to go through the plan 1. Next, third case is when we have a we are too optimistic and we expected that our earning per share will increase to 1,25,000. Earning per share, expected earning per share will 1,25,000. Then in that case we can calculate the EPS. The calculation is same as the previous slide. Let us do this. Interest on debt, same. 4 lakhs का 10%, 4 lakh का 10%, ओके, और 1 lakh का 10%, 40,000 आ गया, 10,000 आ गया, we get the 40,000 and 10,000. Now less this minus this, we receive this 85,000. 1,25,000 minus 10,000, we will receive 1,50,000. We received 1,15,000. This is the amount before tax. Now pay the tax. Tax assumption is 50%. So we deduct 50% for the tax. So 85,000 minus 42,500. 40,500 is a tax. Remaining balance is 42,500. Earning after interest and tax, EAIT. I will just this is short form. Earning after interest. We pay the interest, we pay the tax. So this is earning or residual income for the equity shareholders. So this is residual income for the equity shareholder is 42,500, and this is for 57,500 residual income for the equity shareholder of in plan 2. Now again we divide the earning for equity shareholder by number of equity shareholders, this divided by this and this divided by this. Finally, we get that the EPS is 4.25 in case 1 and 1.43 in case 2, which is too much small in compared to plan 1. It is too much small compared to plan 1, and here also we will choose the plan 1. We will choose the plan 1 according to the, if we take only EPS as a main constraint, or on the basis of EPS we can choose the plan 1, because in this case EPS is higher than plan 2, it is too much higher. Therefore, earning per share will increase by increase in the debt equity ratio at certain level, and also when there is an increase in EBIT, then it will also increase the earning per share. So, in first case there is no change because EBIT is 50,000 only, but after that EBIT increases from 50 to 75 and 75 to 125. In both cases plan 1 is EBIT of plan 1 is higher than EBIT of plan 1 is higher than EBIT of plan 2. EBIT of plan 1 is higher than EBIT plan 2. Now this is about the financial leverage, and now importance of leverage. So planning of capital structure, and second is profit planning. So planning of capital structure is important because with the help of leverage we can able to answer the question how much percentage of debt and equity should be, how much we depend on the equity shareholders, how much depend on the borrowings, up to what level equity shareholders feel safe, because when we increase the debt they feel insecure. What will be our profit planning, because as we see in the previous slide, when we increase the profit, EPS increases, then company have to work out to increase the profit, because without profit you cannot increase the earning per share, even though you have a very good mixture of debt and equity, but if you do not having profit, then it cannot give leverage to the equity shareholder, because whatever you earn, if it is equal to the interest paid to the debenture holders, then it is very risky for the equity shareholder. Whatever you earn, if you pay all the amount to the equity debenture holder as an interest, then it is quite risky for the equity shareholder to sustain. Therefore, profit planning and planning of capital structure is so much important, and it is helpful by the leverage. Capital structure give the proper dimension to the company. It is also help to understand that how we fixed cost helpful for the increase in the earning per share. Profit planning is a important part, because by proper profit we will pay the dividend. With proper profit we have to pay the other recurring expenses. Companies goodwill, companies wealth, companies value, all are depend on the profit planning, and with the help of leverage company are able to do so. They can proper planning the capital structure, debt equity mix, and they also maintain their profitability. They also convert or give the leverage to the value of the firm. So, my dear viewers, my dear students, today we were discussed on the leverage, and we also understand about the financial leverage. So, you hopefully you understand this topic, and you can get the references from the some books name are given here. Thank you for watching this video.